You don't have to compare yourself with anyone else who is doing monk mode. The universe is always finding ways to prove you right. I got full control of my surrounding. It's you versus you. Hi everyone, so on today's video, I will be sharing some of the breakdowns that I had during these 21 days of monk mode that ultimately lead to my breakthroughs. And some of them include stuff like insecurities, learning how to trust myself, managing isolation, managing my emotions during isolation, and also journaling them down to understand them better. So make sure to stay to the end because I will be giving away my Notion template, and hopefully it's something that you could use if you want to embark on this monk mode journey yourself as well. So the first breakdown that I had was isolation. Because when you spend 21 days of things that you want to achieve, you don't really schedule your time with your friends or your family just for that 21 days because you want to be as productive as possible and you don't want any distraction. So initially it was kind of lonely and boring, and that's when a lot of thoughts come out to play, right? But I see the positive side of it after that 21 days is that I got full control of my surrounding. For example, what I listen to from the moment that I wake up all the way to the moment that I go to bed, I get to control that, and not the gossip that people are feeding you with, or like social media or news or television. You get to control everything that you listen to, and also the food that you eat. So you get to control what you want to eat and what time you want to eat, when you wake up, when you go to bed. Isolation is something that I really enjoy because you get to know who you truly are by all these habits that you're building during your 21 days. The second is trusting myself. So there's this saying that we are really good employees, but we are not really good bosses. What this means is that if your boss tells you to wake up at 8 a.m. and show up to work, you would, right? You would work your plans around it and make sure that you show up at set time. But when you are a boss yourself, you usually just let yourself get away with it. For someone to ultimately progress, right, they have to learn to take on responsibilities, and the more important responsibility is the one that you give to yourself. So there's a lot of times where we could just make excuses to other people, and we all know that it's excuse, right? But the ultimate excuse that you give is yourself, because you have to sell it to yourself before you can sell it to anyone else. So during this monk mode, with all the things that you set out to do, every time you check off something from the list, you are learning to trust yourself more and more. So understand that you're not going to compare yourself to anyone else in this monk mode journey. It's you versus you. Who is coming out of this 21 days? No one else. It's only you, a new version of you. So make sure you're on track with that. And the third breakdown I had was feeling insecure, like I'm not good enough. It's like all these other times when you're comparing yourself on social media finally comes up and you're like, oh, who am I? Like, am I easily replaceable? Be it in your workforce or your relationships or your friendships. Feeling not good enough is like a double-edged sword because it can motivate you to want to do better, but it can also paralyze you from doing anything. And ultimately, the breakthrough that I had is that if it's true, so be it. You can't do anything about what other people feel about you. You can only control what you feel about you. For example, if you think that you're easily replaceable at work and you think that, oh my gosh, they're going to replace me anytime, and therefore you do half than what is required of you because you think, what's the point of trying anyway? I'm going to be replaced. And therefore they replaced you. But if you go with the mindset of if it's true, so be it, and you go in with your best no matter what circumstances it is, and just give your 100%, and you realize that none of it is true. It's most likely just your own thoughts in your own head. The thing is, when you're insecure, it's most likely because you compare yourself to the world, and therefore you think that everyone else is comparing you. And then I'm going to move on to the next point, which is related to this insecurity, is that the kind of stories that you tell yourself. So the thing is, when you create a negative story, you play it out in your head, it's more likely for you to play it out in real life. So that brings me to my next point, which is, what stories have I been telling myself? For example, making 10K a month is very difficult, and so it is. But if you say making 10K a month is very easy, you'll slowly find ways to prove yourself right, because the universe is always finding ways to prove you right. And we as humans, we don't want to be proved wrong. That's why whatever that we believe in, we are most likely going to get it. Another example is I have to eat meat at every meal. So this is what I believed back then when I was really crazy into my diet and bodybuilding. I have to see meat at every meal or I don't feel like I'm getting my protein. But over the years, when I began to let go of this idea of how a diet should be, I actually see the nice changes in my body that I've been longing for. So a lot of people who are practicing law of attraction would understand this, right? But the thing is, if it's that easy, why am I not making 10K a month yet? The secret is your emotions. How do you feel when you say that story? Do you feel like it's believable? Does it take a lot of faith for you to think that that is possible? It all comes down to your feelings. So here is an emotional guidance skill that I'll be sharing with you guys, and I will be referring to it because with every emotion that comes up, know that you can only go to the one a bit higher or below it. So for example, if you're feeling all the way down here, someone up here might be very annoying to you. So you can only move your way slowly up. So if you're feeling a little bit disappointed and let down, your next emotion might actually be hatred. So when you hate someone, you actually collect back that power. But when you are down here, you are probably a bit more helpless and you think like, how could they do this to me? But when you're in hatred, you're like, I'm not gonna let you do this to me anymore. And then you slowly move up into boredom and ultimately like positive thinking and then moving up into happiness and so on. So know that in every topic, we all have this emotion within us. Whether it's believable or not, it's ultimately what you bring forth to you. So if you can speak it enough times with the right emotion, that is how you actually attract things to you. So what you can do right now if you are thinking of embarking on this 21 days is to journal everything, including your crazy emotions. So for me, if I have breakdowns and hysterical crying, I actually put it down in my calendar and I repeat it for 28 days. So I know that my body has a cycle of its own and I want to learn how to use this machine that I'm given, right? I know that I have hormones and I know that I have cycles. So I want to work in advantage of that cycle and understand that if I am hysterically crying, I can actually look back at my calendar and be like, yeah, I've done this last month, it's okay. Things are going to turn out fine. So that really gives me like perspective of the bigger picture. So understand that even though we are talking about monk mode and we are here to be monks and all that and Zen and all, know that we are still humans. We are here to make mistakes. We are here to learn. It's sort of like a portfolio makeup, right? You can be made up of 50% human, 30% animalistic, because sometimes we let our animal instincts, get to us, anger us, eat bad food and sleep like a pig, and 20% godlike. So you can make up your own portfolio on how you want to live this life. So I hope you guys find this video insightful. If you like this video, please make sure to leave a thumbs up, and I will be linking that Notion template in the description below. So leave a comment on what you enjoy the most, and I'll see you guys in the next one.